Okay, before you ask why I released a Christmas film 3 days after Christmas Eve, you first have to understand that this was not the only Christmas film I made this month. To understand how it came to this, we have to go back an entire year. December 2019. I had just released my latest short film, Pink Clouds, and I was already entering pre-production on what was sure to become my first ever holiday-themed short film. Even with no set actor, I had already bought a costume as well as started editing whatever I could before shooting. But that never happened. I pitched the idea to all my friends, and although some showed interest, they were just too busy. So I took a step back and said, fine, I'll do it next year. Skip ahead till late November 2020, I had just released my latest short film, Innuendo, and I was already making plans left and right for my first ever Christmas short film, because this time I was going to do it. And long story short, I did. I wrapped up shooting and started editing, but a week before Christmas, my actor messaged me asking me to not release the film to the public. But I wasn't going to give up. I wasn't going to wait another year until I got my first shot at a holiday-themed short film. So, I spent the week before Christmas writing, shooting, and editing this, going as far as to work on Christmas Eve, just to ensure that it comes out on time. But as you know now, it didn't. Eventually, I took the evening off to spend time with my family and postponed my deadline. And 3 days later, here we are. But enough backstory, let's get to the film. I didn't actually own a copy of A Christmas Carol, but with only 1 week left, there was no time to order one. So, what I did was print out 3 book covers and hold them in front of the camera to see which looked best. Then I taped it to my copy of Rebel Without a Crew. I was surprised by how convincing the opening shot turned out, but people who have read the book were still likely to spot it. I was going to put together a legitimate Jacob Marley costume, but again, time was running out, so I simply used my brother's suit and added this line to make up for it. Aren't you supposed to have chains? We've grown elegant over the years. I've said in the past that I tend to get too ambitious with my films, only to realize it during production. An earlier draft of the script had a much more complicated opening. There was going to be a voiceover of me reading the book and a whole big suspense piece leading up to the ghost's arrival. In case you're interested, you can find the first draft in the description. By the way, this was not the first time I cloned myself in a film of mine, but it is going to be the last. Since I was on my own, it took me up to 46 takes just to get the angle and focus right, except for this shot, for which I had to ask my brother to throw the snowman at me. I've been told that the cinematography in this film is underwhelming compared to my other work, and I couldn't agree more. I wanted to collect different angles, but time was running out. That said, the dialogue shots weren't always going to be this stale. They were actually going to be over the shoulders, but while editing, I realized I completely screwed up the POV. Speaking of editing, this turned out to be my most challenging project yet in that regard, since it is my most fast-paced film to date, as well as one that required comedic timing. For some time now, I've been using Samsung's 500GB SSD, and it's become more than evident that it is not an ideal choice for the BMPCC 4K. Since most B-RAW files take up several gigabytes, it fills up pretty quickly, meaning I often have to stop shooting and import files onto my PC. One time, I had to make space, so I created a copy of a 90GB file containing most of the ghost's dialogue on my PC. Then I deleted the original file from my hard drive. Ready to get back to shooting, I went to check on the copy, and it was at this moment that I realized the 90GB file was not playing.
I'm gonna kill myself!
Wow.
I'm going to kill myself, and it's your fault!
Okay, no reason to panic. You did nothing wrong. Let's just open Resolve.
No!
I reached out for help anywhere I could. I asked on 4 subreddits as well as the user forum for Resolve. I even got in touch with a Resolve specialist. The file was gone. Fine, I'll shoot it again. So I did. And frankly, I f***ing had it with Christmas short films.